Hey everybody, I'm Jack, and this is Raw Tropical Living. Thanks for joining me today. Hope your week got off to a good start. Been a good Monday here. I got at it early and have been going pretty much all day, getting things done, kind of organizing my week. I've decided I need to just kind of get a little organization into my life instead of just waking up each day and figuring out, okay, I'm going to work on this today. But anyhow, today I wanted to talk about raw food diet and longevity. What else do you need? Guys, I do videos every day, so if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, why don't you think about going down and hitting that subscribe button now, and then coming back and checking out some more of my content. So, is raw food all we need? Is that all we need just to sit around and eat on fruit to live a long, long, long life? Not in my opinion, anyway. I don't think I'm one too. Like I say, if you haven't watched my videos, I tend to be skeptical about things in life. I like to question things in life. And I'm definitely not one of the people that thinks a raw food diet makes us bulletproof, like nothing can happen. Ooh, we're invincible on top of that. I think there's a number of things that go into that whole longevity equation. And also, too, it's not just about getting to a certain age or getting to an advanced age, but it's also about how are we going to feel as we get there. You know, I think about that stuff sometimes. I'm 55 years old. I was thinking about that yesterday. I thought about something 25 years, and I'm like, damn, in 25 years, I'm 80 years old. Now, obviously, I want to still be alive and kicking, but I don't want to be, like invalid. I don't want to be like limping around. I don't want to be, not able to do stuff. I'm hoping that I can be just like a little bit. I mean, I'm not expecting to be, spring chicken, but I'm hoping I'm just going to be a little bit slower version of what I am now. But yeah, no, I think there's way more to it than just raw food. Although I do believe the base of the raw food diet, fruits, nuts, vegetables, seeds, are a great place to start as far as the nutrition part of it goes. Like I say, I listen to my body on a lot of things, and when I say that, I always like to make clear I don't mean just this woo-woo hippie-ish, oh, I just listen to my body. I don't just listen to my body. I try to educate myself and whatever, but I know without a doubt how I feel now as compared to how I felt 7 years ago, that I'm at least moving in the right direction. But once again, am I doing everything perfectly? Probably not. Am I missing something that could be very important? Very likely. That's why I'm always seeking, and that's why my mind is always open. I'm not going to ever close my mind and just be like, nope, nope, nope. This is the way. This is all I need. I don't want to hear anything else about it. La, 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 la. That's what I think. There's too many raw vegans out there with blinders on. You see, I like to look at case studies, and I like to just read the story about people that live and thrive to an older age. I was looking at Annette Larkin this morning. She's a big proponent of the raw food diet. Looks amazing at 78. I was thinking about Mimi Kirk. I think Mimi Kirk is like 80, 81 now. And they both are just, they're just as vibrant as can be. They can do the things they want. They're active. They can exercise. Another good book that will teach you a lot of things about longevity. One book that taught me more about longevity, just like the big picture of longevity than anything else, was The Blue Zones. And these are I think there's 7 of them in the world. They may have found another one now. And these are just pockets of places in the world where there tends to be a lot of people, say 100 and over, or an area where there's a lot of elderly people that are just thriving. And and I like to look at that because, what do you do? What's one of the most basic ways to try to be successful at something or to achieve something or get some result? Is to study people that have already been successful in that. Now, in the Blue Zones, a lot of those people one thing that was impressed upon me having read that, and none of them were raw, by the way. None of them were raw. Now, we could play devil's advocate and say, okay, if they were a next step and maybe they were raw, would they be doing all this stuff at 110 or 115 instead of late in their 90s and in their hundreds? And who knows? Who knows? But there were common characteristics of all these different blue zones in a way, and there were a lot of them where the people were very active. I've talked about that many times before. It doesn't have to be like this big exercise regimen, but you need to move your body. We need to move our body. An object in motion stays in motion. Use it or lose it. And a lot of it, and the reason I'm saying you don't have to get out there and kill yourself, a lot of it is just, you're keeping it elastic. You're keeping your body elastic. You're keeping it fluid. That's good for your joints. That's good for everything, just to keep moving. It's good for your circulation. Hydration. I'm trying to preach that over and over and over. I can't stress enough how important I think it is to be hydrated, to stay hydrated, not just every once in a while, and learn what is fully hydrated for you. It may not be the same for everybody. Some people are more active than others. But one thing you'll always notice, if you look at these women, like sometimes you'll see a woman in her 60s or 70s or sometimes older, and you're like, damn, man, she looks really good. A lot of them are not even plant-based, but one characteristic I've always noticed in older women that appear very youthful, very attractive, is you hear a story about them and they talk about they were big on hydration. They always stayed hydrated. A lot of them actually ate a lot of fruit in there mixed with it, even though they weren't necessarily vegan, raw, plant-based, or any of that kind of stuff. So you've got staying active, hydration. One thing, and this always makes me a little paranoid because, I'm a happy person, but the one thing is connections. A lot of the people that have thrived into their later years have community. They have connection. They're around people. Now, although I'm very happy, I'm not lonely, I could use some more connection. And in a few years, I will be getting back to more of a normal life. I just happen to be here, because my mom, later years of her life, she's in the nursing home, just want to be around her. But yeah, I do think about that sometime, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to be that old hermit my whole life. I do want to establish some connection. It's one of the reasons also too, I've just got some random notes. A lot of this is going to be jumping around here. As another reason too is like why I'm always trying to plug holes or see what I could be missing, and I'm trying to break. In other words, I think a lot of people like to just kind of look for things to verify that their lifestyle is working. I like to poke holes in it and see where I've got gaps and things that I could improve on. That's why I'm always looking for new stuff. Minerals. That's why I'm always trying to focus on getting more greens. It's also a reason why I supplement certain things. And you know what? I don't give a good rat's ass. Anytime you mention supplementing, everybody's very opinionated. I don't give a good rat's ass what anybody thinks about what I supplement, what I take into my body. I'm an independent source. That's a good thing about being a little bit older. Other opinions are basically right over my head. I'm not even very cognizant of them, but just trying to make sure I'm getting all these minerals that I need, because hey, maybe for all the fruity folks out there that, oh man, all you need is fruit, that's what we're designed for. Possibly if you were living in the tropics with uncorrupted conditions, but we all know that a lot of the fruit we're getting up here, we're not getting our minerals. So that's why I'm always looking for any new trick, whatever, to get my minerals in. Another good one is that brain health. I focus on trying to get natural sources of omega-3s, but it's also too, kind of like my buddy plant-based athlete said, it's like an insurance policy. I started supplementing omega-3s with an algae DHA and EPA a few months ago for the heart health, the brain health, the eye health. Now the way I eat, and I'm pretty sure, from certain little markers, when I have been to the doctor a couple of times for this condition here, and they're checking, blood pressure. I don't know about my cholesterol or anything, but I'm pretty sure from different checks and different signs that I got pretty good, decent heart health. But I worry about that old brain of mine, sometimes too. So that's the reason that I would never go like this no overt for long periods of time or uber low fat. And that's just for me. I think the super low, for me, I don't buy uber low fat for long term. Now, what do I mean uber? I'm talking about the real low limits. I'm not talking about, anywhere from 10% up to 20%. Okay. I don't consider, even though that's considered a low fat diet, 10%, a lot of people got to take that to the next level and they want to go, oh, well, I don't add any overt fat. For me, don't think so, not for long term. And like I say, there's a lot of intangibles, so we always need to be on the lookout for plugging those holes. Listen, I don't encourage anybody to follow me. I don't encourage anybody to eat like I do. I encourage you to be a seeker, like I talked about when I first started. Just be a seeker. Have an open mind. Don't get on team this or team that when it comes to your raw vegan diet or whatever. And don't get caught up in all this hype, because that's a lot of niching type stuff. A lot of the stuff, that's why I don't really watch a lot of content on the raw stuff anymore, because it's kind of, sometimes I think, trying to be extreme. It's all about raw just because the harder core you're raw, you're niching, so you're really connecting with that niche. For me, it's all about health, always been about health, always going to be about health. So be a seeker, open your mind, read some of these books. Read that book, read The Blue Zones. It's a great book. It's a great book. I'm thinking back to some of those stories that I read. It's been a couple or 3 years since I read it, but the people are very active, and they're not out when I'm talking about their movement, jumping back a little bit, when I'm talking about movement, exercise, all that. One thing about it is they're eating good, healthy foods. They're eating mostly plant-based because they're generally poor communities or villages. They're growing their own food. They got their hands in the dirt, and they're getting their body movement, exercise, if you will, through actually working to make their food. Like, you'll see a lot of these people that were in their 90s that are every day, they're like working 4 hours in their garden, brisk work, or they're carrying water back from this place to their house. So anyhow, no, I don't think, we can just say, yeah, I'm just eating a bunch of fruit and expect to live a long, healthy life. Learn as you go, but always try to be moving forward, and always try to be plugging in those holes, kind of like I do. But anyhow, just my opinion on it. Hope you guys enjoyed this one today. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.